Hello there, and welcome. I'm so glad you've chosen to spend this quiet time with me tonight. Before we begin our journey together through the snow-covered forests of Canada, I want you to take a moment to settle in. Find your most comfortable position, whether you're nestled under warm blankets or resting against soft pillows. Let your body sink a little deeper into wherever you're lying. Feel the weight of the day beginning to lift from your shoulders. Tonight, we're going to take a slow, peaceful walk through a winter landscape where the snow falls softly and the forest holds its breath in the cold. We'll encounter some of the magnificent creatures who make these northern woods their home, and we'll end our journey in a warm, cozy cabin where a fire crackles gently in the stove. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Just listen, breathe, and let yourself drift along with the story. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and then release it slowly through your mouth. Good. Let's do that one more time. Breathe in the calm, breathe out any tension. And now, let's begin our journey. The Quiet Snow Cabin, a cozy Canadian wildlife sleep story. The Bear's Winter Walk. You find yourself standing at the edge of a vast boreal forest on a late afternoon in November. The sky above holds that particular quality of winter light, soft and diffused, as though the sun itself has wrapped itself in gauze. The temperature hovers just below freezing, cold enough that your breath forms small clouds in the air, but not so cold that it bites at your face. It's the perfect temperature for walking through snow. Before you stretches a narrow trail that winds between towering spruce trees and white birch. The birch trees stand out dramatically against the darker evergreens, their papery white bark marked with black horizontal lines that look like ancient writing. Some of the birches lean at gentle angles, patient in their waiting for spring. The spruce trees, meanwhile, wear heavy coats of snow on their branches, each needle holding its small burden of winter. The snow beneath your feet is fresh. It fell last night while the world slept, and now it lies undisturbed except for a few small tracks that crisscross the trail. You begin to walk slowly, your boots making that particular soft crunching sound that only fresh snow creates. It's not the loud, crisp crunch of old, compacted snow. This is gentler, more forgiving. Each step you take presses down into snow that might be 3 or 4 inches deep, and the sound is muffled, almost hushed. As you walk, you become aware of how quiet everything is. The forest in winter holds a special kind of silence, different from any other silence you've experienced. It's not empty. It's full, but full of stillness. And there's a scientific reason for this magical quiet that you're experiencing. Fresh snow, you see, has a remarkable property. When snowflakes fall and accumulate, they don't pack together tightly. Instead, they create a loose, porous structure. Each snowflake is a 6-sided crystal with an intricate branching pattern, and between all these crystals are countless tiny pockets of air. These air pockets act like millions of miniature sound absorbers. When sound waves travel through the air and encounter this layer of snow, the waves get trapped in these small spaces. The sound energy dissipates, absorbed by the snow's structure rather than bouncing back to your ears. To understand this better, think about how sound works. Sound is essentially vibration traveling through a medium, whether that's air, water, or a solid material. When you speak, your vocal cords vibrate, creating waves of compressed and decompressed air that travel outward from your mouth. When these waves reach someone else's ear, they cause the eardrum to vibrate, and the brain interprets these vibrations as sound. For sound to travel effectively, it needs a medium that can transmit these vibrations efficiently. Solid, dense materials like concrete or metal transmit sound very well. That's why you can sometimes hear people walking on the floor above you in a building. Their footsteps create vibrations that travel through the solid floor structure, and those vibrations eventually reach your ears as sound. But materials with lots of air pockets, materials that are porous and loose, don't transmit sound well. When a sound wave enters such a material, its energy gets dissipated. The wave bounces around inside all those tiny air pockets, losing energy with each reflection, until eventually most of the sound energy has been converted to a tiny amount of heat, and the sound wave has effectively disappeared. This is the principle behind acoustic foam that you might see in recording studios or music practice rooms. That foam is full of tiny air bubbles and irregular surfaces. Sound waves enter the foam and get trapped, bouncing around inside until their energy is dissipated. The result is that much less sound reflects back into the room, making the room quieter. Fresh snow works exactly the same way. Each snowflake has a complex, crystalline structure with many branches and a lot of empty space. When snowflakes accumulate, they don't fit together neatly. They pile up in a random, chaotic structure with even more air gaps between individual flakes. The result is a material that might be 90% air by volume, with only 10% actually being ice crystals. When a sound wave hits this layer of snow, some of the sound energy reflects off the top surface, but much of it penetrates into the snow. Once inside, the sound wave encounters all those air pockets and ice crystal surfaces. The wave bounces and refracts and scatters, losing energy continuously. By the time any of that sound energy emerges from the snow, it's been reduced dramatically. Scientists measure sound absorption on a scale from 0 to 1, where 0 means no absorption, all sound is reflected, and 1 means complete absorption, all sound is absorbed, none is reflected. Fresh, fluffy snow rates somewhere between 0.6 and 0.9 on this scale. That means it absorbs between 60 and 90% of the sound that hits it. To put that in perspective, acoustic ceiling tiles, specifically designed to absorb sound in office buildings and schools, typically have absorption coefficients between 0.5 and 0.8. Fresh snow is as effective at absorbing sound as engineered acoustic materials. But not all snow is equally effective at dampening sound. The snow's effectiveness as a sound absorber depends on several factors. The first is how fresh the snow is. Newly fallen snow has the maximum amount of airspace and the loosest structure. As snow sits on the ground, it begins to settle and compact under its own weight. The snowflakes break down, the air spaces become smaller, and the snow becomes denser. Denser snow absorbs less sound. Temperature matters too. When temperatures hover near freezing, snow can partially melt during the day and then refreeze at night. This process creates ice layers and reduces the porosity of the snow. The snow becomes harder, more compact, and less effective at absorbing sound. In fact, ice has the opposite effect from fresh snow. Ice has a hard, smooth surface that reflects sound waves rather than absorbing them. This is why walking on a frozen lake can be so noisy, your footsteps echoing across the ice. The type of snow matters as well. Light, fluffy snow that falls when temperatures are well below freezing is ideal for sound absorption. This snow has large, delicate crystals with lots of intricate branching structures. But wet, heavy snow that falls when temperatures are near or just below freezing has denser, more compact crystals with less airspace. This wet snow doesn't absorb sound as effectively. And of course, the depth of snow matters. Just a dusting of snow isn't enough to significantly change the acoustic environment. The sound dampening effect becomes noticeable with a few inches of accumulation and increases with greater depth. Research has shown that 2 inches of fresh snow can absorb about 60% of ambient sound. 4 inches can absorb even more, perhaps 75 to 80%. Very deep snow, a foot or more, creates an extraordinarily quiet environment. There's another factor contributing to the quiet you're experiencing beyond the snow itself. In winter, there's simply less sound being generated. Many birds have migrated south, so there's no bird song. Insects are dormant or have died off for the winter, so there's no buzzing or chirping. Leaves are gone from deciduous trees, so there's no rustling. The forest is in a state of rest, and the creatures that remain are often quiet, conserving energy in the cold. People tend to stay indoors during snowstorms and cold weather, so there's less human-generated noise. Fewer cars on roads, less machinery operating, fewer sounds of human activity. All of this contributes to the profound quiet you're experiencing as you walk through this winter forest. But it's the snow itself that creates the most dramatic effect. As you continue walking, you become more attuned to the quality of the silence. It's not an empty silence. If you listen carefully, you can hear your own breathing, the soft crunch of your footsteps, the occasional crack of a tree branch contracting in the cold. These sounds are present, but they're muffled, softened, as if heard through a thick curtain. There's an intimacy to it, as if the quiet has brought the world closer, made it smaller and more manageable. You continue walking, and the trail curves gently to the left, following the natural contour of the land. On your right, the forest grows thicker, the trees standing close together. On your left, the woods open up a bit, and through the gaps between the trunks, you can see the land sloping down toward what must be a frozen stream, though you can't see the water from here. And then you notice something. About 20 yards ahead, just off to the right side of the trail, there's movement. You stop walking and stand very still, your breath forming clouds in the cold air. At first, you're not sure what you're seeing. The shape is large and dark against the white snow. And then it moves again, and you realize what it is. A black bear. Your heart gives a small jump, but not from fear. The bear is moving slowly, methodically, and hasn't noticed you yet. You watch, fascinated, as this magnificent creature goes about its business in the November woods. The bear is a large adult, its black fur thick and shaggy in preparation for the coming winter. It's moving along the base of a large, hollow tree, sniffing at the ground, pawing gently at the snow. Black bears in Canada, you recall, spend their winters in a state that scientists now call torpor, though many people still refer to it as hibernation. The distinction is interesting and worth understanding as you stand here, watching this bear prepare for its long winter rest. True hibernation, as seen in small mammals like ground squirrels and chipmunks, involves a dramatic drop in body temperature. A hibernating ground squirrel's body temperature can plummet to near freezing. Their heart rate slows from hundreds of beats per minute to just a handful. Their breathing becomes barely perceptible. They enter such a deep state of dormancy that it can take hours for them to wake up, and waking requires tremendous energy as their bodies must shiver violently to generate heat. Bears, however, do something different and, in many ways, more remarkable. When a bear enters its winter den, its body temperature drops only modestly, perhaps 5 to 9 degrees Fahrenheit from its normal temperature. This might not sound like much compared to the dramatic temperature drops of true hibernators, but it's significant. A bear's normal body temperature is around 99 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, during torpor, it might drop to around 93 or 94 degrees. But the truly extraordinary changes happen inside the bear's body. The bear's metabolic rate, which is the speed at which its body uses energy, drops to about 25% of its normal summer rate. Its heart rate slows dramatically, from 60 to 90 beats per minute down to as low as 8 to 21 beats per minute. The bear takes only one breath every 15 to 45 seconds. Blood flow to the bear's legs and other muscles can be reduced by 45% or more, which is why some bears are slow to move when they first emerge from their dens in spring. What makes this even more remarkable is that bears don't eat, drink, urinate, or defecate for the entire time they're in torpor. This period can last anywhere from 5 to 7 months, depending on where the bear lives and how harsh the winter is. In the far north of Canada, where winters are long and brutal, bears might den for 7 months or more. In more temperate regions, they might only spend 3 or 4 months in their dens. During all those months without food or water, the bear lives entirely off the fat reserves it built up during a period called hyperphagia. You watch the bear in front of you and realize it's currently in this hyperphagic state. Hyperphagia is a period of excessive eating that happens in the late summer and fall, triggered by changing day length and hormonal shifts in the bear's body. During hyperphagia, a bear becomes a single-minded eating machine. It might spend up to 20 hours per day foraging, traveling long distances in search of high-calorie foods. Bears in this region would feast on berries, especially blueberries and cranberries. They eat nuts, particularly hazelnuts, and acorns if they can find them. They catch and eat fish, especially salmon in areas where salmon run in the fall. They eat insects, grubs, and anything else that provides calories. During hyperphagia, a black bear can consume 15,000 to 20,000 calories per day. To put that in perspective, a typical adult human eats about 2,000 calories per day. All those calories get stored as fat, and the bear might gain several pounds per day during peak hyperphagia. By the time a bear is ready to den, it might have increased its body weight by 30 to 40%. This fat is absolutely crucial because it's the bear's only source of energy during the long months of torpor. The bear's body breaks down this stored fat to produce both energy and water. Yes, water. Through a metabolic process, the breakdown of fat molecules produces water as a byproduct, which keeps the bear hydrated even though it never takes a drink. But there's an even more remarkable adaptation at work. When any animal, including humans, goes without food for an extended period, the body starts breaking down muscle tissue to obtain protein. This is why people who don't eat enough lose muscle mass and become weak. Think about what happens to a person who's bedridden for several weeks. They lose strength, their muscles atrophy, and they need physical therapy to regain their former capabilities. Bears, however, have evolved an extraordinary ability to prevent this muscle loss, even though they remain largely inactive for 5 to 7 months. When the bear breaks down fat for energy, one of the byproducts is nitrogen. In most mammals, nitrogen accumulates in the blood as a waste product called urea, which must be eliminated through urination. If urea builds up too much, it becomes toxic, causing a condition called uremia that can damage the kidneys and other organs. This is why people with kidney failure must undergo dialysis to remove waste product from their blood. But bears do something remarkable. Their bodies recycle this nitrogen, converting it back into amino acids, the building blocks of protein. These recycled amino acids are then used to maintain the bear's muscle mass and organ tissue. It's an elegant closed-loop system. The bear breaks down fat for calories and water. The nitrogen waste from that metabolic process, instead of being excreted, gets captured and recycled back into proteins. Those proteins maintain muscle and organ tissue. Nothing is wasted. This means that even though the bear is lying mostly still in its den for months, it doesn't lose significant muscle mass. In fact, some research suggests that bears might actually build muscle mass during hibernation. When they emerge in the spring, they're leaner because they've used up their fat reserves, losing perhaps 30% of their body weight, but their muscles remain strong and functional. A bear can emerge from its den and immediately be capable of walking long distances, running if necessary, and defending itself if threatened. Scientists are studying this process intensely because understanding how bears prevent muscle atrophy could help treat human conditions involving muscle loss, such as muscular dystrophy, the muscle wasting that happens during extended bed rest or space flight, or the muscle loss that occurs with aging. If we could understand and replicate the bear's metabolic pathway for recycling nitrogen into protein, we might be able to help people maintain muscle mass during long hospital stays, during cancer treatment, or in other medical situations where muscle loss is currently inevitable. Bears also do something remarkable with their bones. In humans and most other mammals, being inactive for long periods causes bones to lose density. This is called osteoporosis, and it's a serious concern for people who are bedridden, for astronauts in zero gravity, and for aging individuals. Bones need the stress of weight-bearing activity to maintain their density and strength. Without that stress, bones leach calcium and other minerals, becoming brittle and prone to fractures. But bears don't develop osteoporosis during hibernation. Research on bear bones has shown that they maintain their skeletal integrity through region-specific responses. The bones in their legs, which would normally bear their weight during walking, retain their dense cortical organization even though they're not being used for months. Meanwhile, other parts of the skeleton show increased internal remodeling, adjusting to the changed conditions while still maintaining overall strength. How do they do this? The exact mechanisms are still being studied, but it appears to involve a careful balance of the cells that build bone and the cells that break down bone. In a hibernating bear, this balance is maintained in such a way that bone density remains stable. Understanding this could help treat or prevent osteoporosis in humans. You continue watching the bear, which is now investigating the hollow at the base of the tree. This might be a potential den site. Bears are not particularly fussy about their winter dens. They might dig a den into a hillside, crawl into a cave, nestling under a fallen log, or, as this bear is considering, use a hollow tree. Some bears have been found denning in surprisingly exposed locations, even in brush piles or simply curled up in a nest of leaves in a sheltered spot. The den doesn't keep the bear warm. Unlike a burrow that might be insulated from the cold, a bear's den is often only slightly warmer than the outside air. The bear relies entirely on its thick fur and, more importantly, its stored body fat and reduced metabolism to survive the cold. The den's main purpose is to provide shelter from wind and snow and to offer concealment from potential threats. Bears enter their dens when environmental cues tell them it's time. Research has shown that bears begin to slow down several weeks before they actually enter their dens. Their heart rate and body temperature start to drop gradually, even while they're still active. The final trigger to enter the den usually comes when snow begins to fall and the ambient temperature drops to around freezing 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Once in the den, the bear settles in for the winter. But here's another fascinating detail. Bears aren't in a continuous deep sleep. They shift positions regularly, perhaps to prevent pressure sores from developing, just as a sleeping person shifts position throughout the night. If their den gets flooded or badly damaged, bears can and do leave to find a better spot, even in the middle of winter. They might also leave briefly if the weather becomes unusually mild, though they typically return to their dens afterward. Female bears have an even more remarkable challenge. If a female bear mated during the summer, the fertilized embryo doesn't immediately implant in her uterus. Instead, it undergoes something called delayed implantation. The embryo floats in a state of suspended development until the female enters her den. Only then, and only if she has sufficient fat reserves, does the embryo implant and begin to develop. This evolutionary adaptation ensures that females don't waste energy on pregnancy unless they have enough stored resources to support both themselves and their cubs through the winter. The cubs are born in the den in January or February, in the middle of winter. They're incredibly tiny at birth, weighing only about 1 pound each, which is remarkable considering their mother might weigh 300 pounds or more. The cubs are blind, hairless, and completely helpless. They spend the rest of the winter nursing and growing in the warmth of their mother's body in the den, and they don't emerge until spring when they're large enough and strong enough to follow their mother. The bear you're watching has apparently decided this hollow tree isn't quite right. It moves away, ambling along on all fours, its gait rolling and unhurried. You watch as it disappears into the darker part of the forest, leaving behind only tracks in the snow. You stand there for a moment longer, feeling privileged to have witnessed this small glimpse into the bear's preparations for winter. Then you continue along the trail, your footsteps once again the only sound in the snowy stillness. The trail continues to wind through the forest, and the light is beginning to change. The sun, though you haven't seen it directly through the overcast sky, is getting lower. The afternoon is aging into evening, and the quality of the light becomes softer, more blue. Shadows deepen beneath the trees. After perhaps another 10 minutes of walking, the trail emerges from the thick forest into a more open area. Here, the trees are spaced farther apart, and you can see more of the sky. And there, perhaps 100 yards ahead, at the edge of this clearing where the forest begins again, you see a cabin. It's a classic log cabin, constructed of thick, horizontal logs with white chinking between them. The cabin is small, perhaps just 1 or 2 rooms, with a peaked roof heavy with snow. A stone chimney rises from one end, and from the chimney, a thin wisp of smoke curls up into the darkening sky. That smoke signals warmth, shelter, rest. But you're not quite ready to reach the cabin yet. There's more to see, more of this winter landscape to experience. So you pause, standing in the snowy clearing, letting your gaze wander across the scene before you. The snow in the clearing is deeper than on the trail, perhaps 6 to 8 inches, and it's pristine except for the tracks of small animals crossing from one side to the other. You can see the delicate prints of what might be a rabbit and the tiny, paired tracks of a mouse or vole, a small indentation followed by the drag mark of its tail. The evening is settling in, bringing with it a deeper cold and a deeper quiet. You stand in the clearing, breathing in the clean, cold air, watching the smoke rise from the cabin's chimney, and feeling a sense of peace settle over you like the falling snow. The wolf and the frozen lake. You continue your walk, but instead of heading directly toward the cabin, you decide to take a longer route. The trail you've been following continues along the edge of the clearing and then curves to the left toward where you know there must be a lake. You can sense the openness in that direction, the way the forest gives way to a larger expanse. The trees here are mostly conifers, tall spruce and pine that stand like dark sentinels in the snow. Their branches droop under the weight of accumulated snow, creating small sheltered spaces beneath them. As you walk, you notice how the trail begins to descend gently, following the slope of the land down toward lower ground. And then you hear it. At first, it's so faint that you're not sure you've heard anything at all. You stop walking and stand very still, listening. There is again a howl, long and wavering, rising and falling in pitch. It comes from somewhere ahead of you, perhaps from the direction of the lake. And then another voice joins the first, and another, and suddenly the cold evening air is filled with the sound of wolves howling. The sound sends a small shiver through you, not from fear but from something more primal, a recognition of something wild and ancient. Wolf howls have a haunting quality, musical and mournful at the same time. Each wolf has its own distinctive voice, its own pitch and timbre, and when they howl together, the voices interweave into a complex harmony. You continue walking, moving slowly and quietly toward the sound. The trail makes one more curve and then opens up, and you find yourself standing at the edge of a frozen lake. The lake is perhaps half a mile across, its surface covered with snow-covered ice. The forest rings it on all sides, dark walls of trees against the white expanse. And there, on the far side of the lake, you see them. A wolf pack. There are at least 6 or 7 wolves that you can count, though there might be more partially hidden by the terrain. They're gathered on a slight rise near the shoreline, and even from this distance you can see the vapor of their breath in the cold air. As you watch, one of the wolves throws back its head and howls again, and the others join in. The sound carries clearly across the frozen lake, amplified by the stillness and the reflective quality of the ice. After perhaps 30 seconds, the howling gradually fades away, and the wolves lower their heads and begin to move, flowing like gray and white shadows along the lakeshore. Wolves are among the most social and cooperative animals in the natural world. The pack you're watching is almost certainly a family group, and understanding their structure and relationships is to understand one of nature's most successful social systems. But much of wolf communication is non-vocal. The position and movement of the tail is particularly important. A tail held high shows confidence and potentially dominance in a particular situation. Though remember that in family packs, dominance is usually just a reflection of the parent-offspring relationship rather than something achieved through aggression. A tail tucked between the legs shows submission or fear. A tail wagging, yes, wolves wag their tails just like domestic dogs, usually indicates friendly excitement. Ears are equally expressive. Ears pointed forward show attention and interest. Ears laid back flat against the head can indicate submission or, in a different context, aggressive intent. Ears swiveling back and forth show a wolf that's listening carefully, processing multiple sound sources, trying to understand what's happening around it. Facial expressions matter too. A wolf can raise its lip to show teeth in a threat display. It can narrow its eyes or widen them. It can adjust the tension in the muscles around its eyes and mouth to convey different emotional states. These facial expressions are subtle, and it takes practice to read them, but pack members know each other's expressions intimately from years of living together. And contrary to popular belief, wolves are actually not very successful hunters. Research across multiple wolf populations and prey species suggest that wolves are successful in only about 15 to 20% of their hunting attempts. That means for every 5 hunts they undertake, they might succeed in 1. The other 4 attempts end in failure, with the prey escaping and the wolves expending energy for no food reward. This low success rate makes pack hunting even more important. Hunting alone, a wolf's success rate would be even lower. By working together, coordinating their movements, using tactics and strategies, the pack increases its chances of success. And when they do succeed, a single kill can provide a lot of food for the entire pack. A wolf pack can take down prey animals much larger than themselves. A single wolf weighs perhaps 75 to 150 pounds, depending on its age, sex, and geographic location. But a pack can successfully hunt moose that weigh 1,000 pounds or more, elk weighing 600 pounds, bison weighing up to 2,000 pounds. This is only possible through cooperation. The actual hunt is often a test of endurance as much as speed. Wolves are not sprinters. They can't outrun a healthy elk or deer in a short chase. But wolves have extraordinary stamina. They can maintain a steady loping pace for hours, covering enormous distances. They can't outrun a healthy elk or deer in a short chase. But wolves have extraordinary stamina. They can maintain a steady loping pace for hours, covering enormous distances. Many hunts involve the wolves simply following prey animals for miles, waiting for the prey to tire or for an opportunity to present itself. Wolves are particularly adept at identifying vulnerable individuals in a herd. They watch for animals that are young, old, sick, or injured. They look for animals that move differently from the others, perhaps limping or lagging behind. They've learned through experience which animals they have the best chance of catching and which are likely to escape. Once the pack has selected a target and the chase begins, the wolves use their numbers strategically. Some wolves might cut across to block the prey's escape route. Others drive from behind, keeping the prey moving and preventing it from stopping to defend itself. Young wolves might participate in chases as a form of training, learning the skills they'll need as adults, even if they're not yet strong or experienced enough to play a decisive role in bringing down the prey. When the prey is finally brought down, it's usually through a combination of bites to the haunches and hind legs, which cripple the animal and prevent it from running or kicking effectively, and eventually bites to more vulnerable areas. It's not a quick or clean process. Hunting is dangerous work, and many hunts end with the prey escaping and the wolves going hungry. After a successful hunt, all pack members share the meal, though there is a hierarchy at the kill. The breeding pair and any young pups typically eat first and have access to the best parts of the carcass, the organs, and other nutrient-rich tissues. But this isn't because they dominate through aggression. Rather, it's a functional arrangement that benefits the entire pack. The breeding pair needs to maintain their health because the pack depends on their continued leadership, knowledge, and reproduction. And pups are prioritized because they represent the future of the pack. They need nutrition to grow strong and develop the skills they'll need as adults. Subordinate adult wolves wait their turn, and they get plenty to eat when food, is plentiful. A wolf can eat up to 20 pounds of meat in a single meal, storing as much nutrition as possible because they never know when they'll eat again. After gorging, wolves become sleepy and lethargic. They rest near the kill site, digesting their meal for hours or even days. Their bodies work to extract every possible calorie and nutrient from the food. Then, when they're hungry again, the pack resumes hunting. If food is scarce, if hunts have been unsuccessful for a long period, tensions can increase within the pack. Hunger makes all animals, including wolves, more irritable and less tolerant. But even then, pack bonds usually hold. The wolves might become leaner. They might travel farther in search of prey. They might spend more time hunting, but they remain together. The pack is their strength, their best chance of survival. After a successful hunt, all pack members share the meal, though there is a hierarchy at the kill. The breeding pair and any young pups typically eat first, but this isn't because they dominate through aggression. Rather, it's a functional arrangement. The breeding pair needs to maintain their health because the entire pack depends on their continued leadership and reproduction. And pups are prioritized because they represent the future of the pack. But if food is plentiful, all wolves eat their fill, and they're capable of consuming impressive amounts. A wolf can eat up to 20 pounds of meat in a single meal, storing as much nutrition as possible because they never know when they'll eat again. After gorging, wolves become sleepy and lethargic, resting and digesting for hours or even days before they need to hunt again. Interestingly, wolves have been observed engaging in behaviors that suggest they might experience emotions we typically associate only with humans. There's documented evidence that wolves mourn the loss of pack members. When a wolf dies, other pack members have been seen returning to the site, acting subdued and depressed, and showing less interest in playing or socializing. Pack cohesion can be severely disrupted by the death of a key member, particularly the breeding female. Young wolves typically stay with their birth pack for 1 to 3 years before dispersing to find mates and establish their own territories. Dispersal is a dangerous time for wolves. A lone wolf, without the support of a pack, is vulnerable to starvation, attacks from other packs, and other threats. The strong social bond within the pack mean that dispersal is not undertaken lightly. Some wolves never disperse, choosing instead to remain with their birth pack as helpers, assisting in raising younger siblings and contributing to the pack's overall success. The territory that a wolf pack defends can be vast, ranging from 50 to over 1,000 square miles, depending on the availability of prey and the density of wolf populations in the region. Wolves mark their territory boundaries with scent marking, primarily through urine and scat, and through howling. Those howls you heard earlier serve multiple purposes. Howling helps the pack maintain contact over long distances. If pack members become separated during a hunt or while traveling, they can howl to locate each other. Howling also announces to other packs that this territory is occupied, serving as an acoustic fence that helps prevent conflicts. While wolves from different packs are usually hostile to each other, howling allows packs to know where others are located and to avoid chance encounters that might lead to fights. Howling also serves a social bonding function within the pack. Howling also serves a social bonding function within the pack. Group howls, like the one you witnessed, strengthen the sense of unity and pack identity. It's a communal activity, a shared moment that reaffirms the relationships between pack members. Each wolf knows the voices of its pack mates, and the act of howling together is both practical communication and emotional connection. The pack you were watching has now moved out of sight, disappearing into the forest on the far side of the lake. Their howls have faded away, leaving only the quiet of the winter evening. You stand at the edge of the frozen lake, looking out across its white expanse. The ice is thick, probably more than a foot thick given how cold it's been, and it's completely covered with a layer of snow that makes it blend seamlessly with the surrounding landscape. You notice tracks in the snow near the shore. Deer have been here, their hoof prints showing where they came down to the lake's edge. Perhaps they were seeking water, though they would have found none in winter. Or perhaps they were simply crossing from one side to the other, using the open lake as a travel corridor where they could see predators approaching from a distance. The sky above the lake is darkening to a deeper blue, with streaks of pale yellow and pink still visible near the horizon where the sun has recently set. The first stars are beginning to appear, tiny points of light in the vast dome of the sky. The temperature is dropping further as night approaches, and you can feel the cold more keenly now. You turn away from the lake and locate the trail again. It leads away from the lakeshore, back up the gentle slope through the trees. You know that if you follow it, it will take you to the cabin you saw earlier. The thought of that warm cabin, with smoke rising from its chimney, is becoming more appealing with each passing minute. As you walk back through the trees, you pass through an area where the snow is disturbed. Something large has been here recently, moving through in a hurry. The tracks are large and deep, and you recognize them as moose tracks, though the light is growing too dim to see them clearly. You'll learn more about moose in a moment, but for now you simply note that you're walking through a landscape full of life, even in the depths of winter. The trail leads you around a thick stand of spruce trees, and then suddenly the clearing opens up before you again. The cabin is closer now, perhaps only 50 yards away. You can see it more clearly in the fading light. The warm glow of firelight flickers in one of the windows, and that curl of smoke still rises from the chimney. Soon you'll be there, but first, there's one more encounter waiting for you. The moose in the falling snow. As you emerge into the clearing, you notice that the snow has begun to fall again. It's different from the snow that fell last night. These flakes are larger, more visible as they drift down through the still air. They fall slowly, unhurried, each flake taking its own meandering path from sky to ground. Some of the flakes catch the last rays of twilight and seem to glow briefly before melting on your sleeve or face. You're about halfway across the clearing, your eyes fixed on the welcoming cabin ahead, when you see movement to your right. You stop, turning your head slowly, and your breath catches in your throat. A moose is crossing the clearing. Even if you've seen moose before, even if you've seen them many times, there's something about encountering one in the wild that stops you in your tracks. Moose are the largest members of the deer family, and their size is genuinely impressive. A bull moose can stand 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weigh up to 1,500 pounds. Even a cow moose, which is what you're looking at now, can stand 5.5 feet tall and weigh 800 to 1,000 pounds. The moose is about 40 yards away from you, moving slowly across the clearing from left to right, heading toward the forest on the far side. She's in no hurry, placing each long leg deliberately in the deep snow. And even from this distance, even in the failing light, you can see that she's perfectly adapted for this environment. The first thing you notice is her legs. They're extraordinarily long, much longer than seems proportional to her body. A moose's legs allow it to maneuver through snow that would stop most other animals. Those long legs can lift the moose's body up above snow depths of up to 3 feet, where a deer or elk might struggle and flounder in deep snow, spending precious energy. A moose simply steps through it. But it's not just the length of the legs that matters. Look at her hooves. Even from here, you can see how large they are, how they spread wide with each step. A moose has what are called cloven hooves, meaning the hoof is split into 2 main sections or toes. When a moose steps down, particularly in snow or mud, these 2 toes spread apart, increasing the surface area of the foot. This spreading of the hooves serves the same function as snowshoes. By distributing the moose's considerable weight over a larger surface area, the hooves prevent the animal from sinking too deeply into the snow. A moose can walk on top of snow that would swallow a human up to the waist. The hooves also have dew claws, smaller toes higher up on the leg that leave additional marks in deep snow or soft ground, further increasing the surface area and preventing the moose from breaking through. This adaptation is crucial for winter survival. Moving through deep snow requires enormous amounts of energy. The deeper an animal sinks with each step, the more energy it must expend to lift its legs and move forward. For a large animal like a moose that needs to consume 40 to 60 pounds of vegetation every day, conserving energy is essential. Those snowshoe hooves allow the moose to move efficiently through its winter habitat, accessing food sources that other animals cannot reach. The moose you're watching also has another key adaptation for winter, though this one is less obvious. Her coat has changed. During the summer, a moose's coat is shorter and darker, sometimes almost black. But as winter approaches, triggered by the changing day length and dropping temperatures, the moose grows a much thicker winter coat. This winter coat has 2 layers. The undercoat consists of dense, fine, woolly hair that traps warm air close to the skin, providing excellent insulation. On top of this undercoat are longer guard hairs. These guard hairs are coarse and thick, and here's the remarkable part: they're hollow. Each guard hair is essentially a tiny air-filled tube. The air trapped inside these hollow hairs provides additional insulation because air is an excellent insulator. This is the same principle behind double-paned windows or down jackets. By trapping air in small spaces, the moose's coat creates a thick layer of insulation that keeps body heat from escaping. The hollow guard hairs serve another purpose too. When a moose swims, which moose do frequently in summer and fall to feed on aquatic plants, these air-filled hairs provide buoyancy, helping the moose float more easily. Moose are surprisingly good swimmers and have been observed swimming several miles between islands or across large lakes. But in winter, the coat's primary function is insulation, and it works remarkably well. A moose can withstand temperatures well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit without difficulty. In fact, moose are so well adapted to cold that they actually struggle with heat. If the temperature rises much above about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a moose can become heat-stressed. Even in winter, if the sun is shining brightly, moose will often seek shade in dense coniferous forests to cool down. The moose's large body size also helps with temperature regulation, and this principle is worth understanding because it applies to many animals in cold climates. It's called the surface area to volume ratio, and it's a fundamental concept in biology and physics. Imagine two objects, one small and one large, both made of the same material and at the same temperature. The small object has more surface area relative to its volume than the large object does. Surface area is where heat exchange happens. Heat radiates from surfaces, and heat is absorbed through surfaces. Volume is where heat is generated and stored in a living animal. A small animal, like a mouse or a shrew, has a very high surface area to volume ratio. It has a lot of surface area relative to its body mass. This means it loses body heat very quickly to the environment. To compensate, small mammals must have extremely high metabolic rates. They eat almost constantly, burning calories at an astonishing rate to generate enough heat to maintain their body temperature. A shrew, one of the smallest mammals, must eat approximately its own body weight in food every single day just to survive. A large animal, like a moose or a bear, has a much lower surface area to volume ratio. It has less surface area relative to its body mass. This means it loses heat more slowly. Its large body mass acts as a thermal reservoir, generating and storing heat. Large animals can afford to have slower metabolic rates because they don't lose heat as quickly. This is why many Arctic and subarctic animals are large. Moose, caribou, musk oxen, polar bears, walruses all benefit from this principle. Their size helps them retain body heat in the extreme cold. It's also why animals of the same species tend to be larger in colder climates. This pattern is called Bergmann's rule, named after the scientist who first described it. White-tailed deer in northern Canada are substantially larger than white-tailed deer in the southern United States, partly because the larger northern deer can better withstand cold temperatures. For the moose you're watching, this large body size, combined with its insulating coat and other adaptations, means it can thrive in conditions that would be lethal to smaller animals. Moose have been documented surviving and remaining active in temperatures as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit or even colder. But there's a trade-off. Because moose are so well insulated and because they generate so much body heat, they can become heat stressed surprisingly easily. If the temperature rises much above about 40 degrees Fahrenheit, a moose starts to become uncomfortable. At 50 degrees or above, a moose can actually overheat, especially if it's exerting itself. This is why moose behavior changes with the seasons. In summer, moose spend a lot of time in or near water. They wade into lakes and ponds to feed on aquatic plants, but they're also using the cool water to regulate their body temperature. They seek shade during the hottest parts of the day, resting in dense forests where temperatures are a few degrees cooler than in open areas. They're most active during the cooler hours of dawn and dusk. In winter, the opposite is true. Moose avoid areas with too much sun exposure during midday, not because they're cold, but because they might get too warm. They seek out dense conifer forests where the shade from the trees keeps temperatures moderate. These forests also tend to have less deep snow under the canopy because the tree branches catch and hold much of the falling snow. The moose's diet in winter is severely limited compared to summer, and this creates real challenges. To get enough nutrition from woody plants, the moose must consume enormous quantities. An adult moose needs to eat approximately 40 to 60 pounds of vegetation per day to maintain its body weight and energy levels. In winter, when the available food is mostly twigs, bark, and evergreen needles, all of which are low in nutritional value and hard to digest, the moose must spend the majority of its time feeding. Moose are browsers, not grazers. This means they're selective about what they eat, choosing higher quality parts of plants when available. In summer, they prefer the leaves and tender shoots of deciduous trees and shrubs, as well as aquatic plants. In winter, they eat the tips of branches and twigs, which have more nutritional value than older, woodier parts of the branch. They strip bark from young trees, getting at the nutrient-rich cambium layer underneath. They'll eat the buds of trees and shrubs, which contain concentrated nutrients stored for the coming spring growth. Moose show definite preferences in their winter feeding. Willow is a favorite, possibly because willow bark contains salicylic acid, the compound that aspirin is derived from, which might have mild pain-relieving or anti-inflammatory properties. Birch is also highly palatable. Aspen and poplar are eaten when available. Balsam fir needles are consumed in significant quantities, though they're not very nutritious. Moose will also eat red maple, cherry, mountain ash, and many other woody plants. In areas where moose populations are dense, you can see clear evidence of their winter browsing. Balsam fir trees look threadbare, missing many of their needles. Young deciduous trees have stripped bark and nipped off branch tips. The visible impact of moose browsing can shape the forest ecosystem, reducing certain plant species and allowing others to flourish. To process this difficult diet, moose have sophisticated digestive systems. Like cattle, sheep, and deer, moose are ruminants. This means they have a multi-chambered stomach that allows them to ferment plant material before fully digesting it. When a moose eats, it does only minimal chewing before swallowing the food. The food goes into the first chamber of the stomach, called the rumen, which is essentially a large fermentation vat. The rumen can hold 50 to 60 gallons of partially digested food and is full of microorganisms, bacteria, and protozoa that can break down cellulose, the tough structural material in plant cell walls. These microorganisms ferment the plant material, breaking down cellulose into simpler compounds that the moose can digest and absorb. The fermentation process takes time, so the food sits in the rumen for hours or even days. Eventually, the moose regurgitates small amounts of this partially fermented food, chews it more thoroughly, a process called chewing cud, and swallows it again. The food then passes through the other chambers of the stomach and into the intestines, where nutrients are absorbed. This system allows ruminants like moose to extract nutrition from plant materials that other animals couldn't digest at all. The microorganisms do the hard work of breaking down cellulose, and in return they get a warm, moist environment with a steady supply of food. The moose benefits from the nutrients released by this fermentation process and also by digesting some of the microorganisms themselves when they pass in the later parts of the digestive system. Even with this efficient digestive system, winter is a time of energy deficit for most moose. They're burning more calories just to stay warm than they can easily replace through their limited diet. Most moose lose weight during the winter, living partly off fat reserves they build up during the abundant summer and fall months. By the end of winter, moose are lean and hungry, eagerly awaiting the spring green up when fresh, nutritious vegetation will become available again. The moose in front of you has paused her feeding and is standing completely still, her large ears swiveling forward and back, listening. Moose don't have particularly good eyesight. They're somewhat nearsighted, meaning they can't see distant objects clearly. This is less of a disadvantage than you might think, because they live in forested environments where long-distance visibility is limited anyway. They rely much more heavily on their excellent senses of hearing and smell to detect danger and navigate their environment. Her nose is one of her most important sensory organs. A moose's sense of smell is acute enough to detect predators from several hundred yards away, depending on wind conditions. The nose also helps the moose find food buried under snow. By sniffing carefully, a moose can locate willow branches or other preferred foods under several inches of snow, then dig down with its hooves to reach them. That long, flexible upper lip, called a proboscis, isn't just for grabbing branches. It's covered with sensory receptors that help the moose identify plants by touch and assess their nutritional quality before committing to eating them. The moose must also be alert to danger, even though adult moose have few natural predators. Wolves are the main threat to moose in this region. A pack of wolves can bring down even a healthy adult moose, though it's dangerous work. Moose are powerful animals with deadly hooves. A well-aimed kick from moose can crush a wolf's skull or break its ribs. Many wolves have been injured or killed attempting to hunt moose. Because of this, wolves tend to target young, old, sick, or injured moose when possible. A healthy adult moose in its prime, like the cow you're watching, stands a good chance of defending itself or simply outrunning the wolves. Moose can run at speeds up to 35 miles per hour even through deep snow, though they usually can't maintain this speed for very long. The moose seems to have decided there's no immediate threat. She lowers her head again and continues across the clearing. You watch her, marveling at how such a large animal can move so quietly and efficiently through the deep snow. Each step is purposeful, each movement economical. There's no wasted motion, no unnecessary expenditure of energy. As she reaches the far side of the clearing and begins to disappear into the trees, you notice something else. Small rabbits are hopping between the trees near where the moose is walking. Their movements are quick and nervous, leaving small tracks in the snow. You watch them for a moment, and then you turn your attention back to your destination. The cabin is so close now, perhaps 30 yards. You can see the details more clearly. The chinking between the logs is white and seems well maintained. The snow on the roof is thick and even, suggesting the roof is well insulated and little heat is escaping. That's good. That means the cabin will be warm inside. There are 2 windows visible from this angle, both glowing with warm yellow light. A narrow path has been shoveled through the snow from the front door to a small woodshed about 10 yards from the cabin. Next to the woodshed is a neat stack of firewood, each log split and ready for the stove. The wood is stacked in a crisscross pattern that allows air to circulate, keeping the wood dry and seasoned. You begin walking again, your feet carrying you across the remaining stretch of clearing toward the cabin. The snow is falling more steadily now, the flakes still large and soft, drifting down in the windless air. They settle on your shoulders, your hair, catching in the fabric of your coat. Each flake melts slowly from the warmth of your body, but more keep falling to replace them. The snow falling around you amplifies the quiet. Remember what you learned earlier about how snow absorbs sound? Well, falling snow does this too. As the flakes drift through the air, they dampen sounds even before they reach the ground. The world becomes softer, more intimate. The clearing with the cabin feels like a small enclosed room. The falling snow, like curtains that separate this space from the larger world beyond. You're almost to the cabin now. Just a few more steps. But before you go inside, let's stop once more and learn about those rabbits you saw near the trees. The rabbit's hidden trail. You pause near the edge of the clearing, where the forest begins again, just a short distance from the cabin. The snow here is marked with a maze of small tracks, and now that you're looking more carefully, you can see the rabbits themselves. There are at least 3 of them, possibly more, hopping slowly among the low bushes and small trees. These are snowshoe hares, not true rabbits, but close relatives. They're called snowshoe hares because of their feet, which like the moose's hooves serve as natural snowshoes. But where the moose spreads its hooves to increase surface area, the snowshoe hare has simply evolved with very large feet. The hind feet are enormous compared to the hare's body size, long and broad and covered with thick fur, even on the soles. These oversized, fur-covered feet distribute the hare's weight across a larger surface area, allowing it to hop across the top of snow without sinking in. This is crucial for the hare's survival. Snowshoe hares are prey animals, hunted by lynx, foxes, coyotes, hawks, owls, and other predators. Being able to move quickly across snow, whether fleeing danger or searching for food, can make the difference between life and death. But it's not just the size of their feet that's remarkable about snowshoe hares. It's their color, or rather, their colors. The hares you're looking at right now are almost pure white. Their fur blends so perfectly with the snow that if they hold still, they become nearly invisible. Only their dark eyes give them away, small black spots in the white landscape. But these same hares were not white a few months ago. In summer, snowshoe hares wear coats of brown or russet, helping them blend in with the earth and dead leaves and summer vegetation. And in a few months, when spring arrives and the snow begins to melt, these hares will turn brown again. This dramatic seasonal color change is one of nature's most elegant adaptations for survival. It's triggered by changes in photoperiod, the length of daylight. As the days grow shorter in fall, the hare's body responds to this environmental cue by producing hormones that trigger a molt. The brown summer fur is shed and replaced by white winter fur. The process happens over a period of about 10 weeks. It doesn't happen all at once, which would leave the hair conspicuous during the transition. Instead, the color change begins at the extremities, the ears and feet, where the fur is shortest and changes fastest. Then it gradually works inward toward the body. During the transition, a hare is mottled, patches of white mixed with patches of brown, which still provides some camouflage in the variable landscape of early winter when snow comes and goes. The cellular mechanism behind this color change is fascinating. Fur color is determined by pigments called melanins, produced in special cells called melanocytes in the skin. These melanocytes are the pigment factories. How active these factories are, what type of pigment they produce, and how much determines whether the hair growing from that follicle is black, brown, white, or some other color. In snowshoe hares, the changing photoperiod triggers hormonal changes that affect the activity of melanocytes. As days grow shorter in fall, melanin production decreases. The new hair growing in during the fall molt lacks pigment, so it's white. In spring, as days grow longer, melanin production increases again, and the new hair growing in during the spring molt is pigmented brown. This system works beautifully as long as the timing of the seasonal color change matches the timing of snow cover. And for millions of years, it has worked beautifully. But scientists are now concerned about what might happen as climate change alters the patterns of snow cover. If snow comes later in fall or melts earlier in spring, hares might find themselves with white coats against a brown background or brown coats against white snow, making them highly visible to predators. Research is ongoing to understand whether hare populations have enough genetic variation to adapt to these changing conditions. Some hare populations already show variation in how quickly and completely they change color, suggesting that evolution might be able to help them adjust to changing snow patterns. But the pace of climate change is rapid in evolutionary terms, and it's uncertain whether hares and other color-changing animals can adapt quickly enough. The hares you're watching seem unconcerned with these long-term questions. They're focused on the immediate challenge of winter survival, which for a snowshoe hare means finding enough food to get through each night. Snowshoe hares are primarily nocturnal or crepuscular, meaning they're most active at dawn and dusk and during the night. During the day, they rest in shallow depressions in the snow called forms, usually beneath low branches or in thick brush where they're hidden from predators. But as evening approaches, like now, they emerge to feed. In summer, hares feed on a variety of grasses, herbs, and green vegetation. But in winter, like the moose, they must switch to a much tougher diet. They eat the twigs and bark of woody plants, particularly willow, birch, and aspen. They'll stand on their hind legs to reach higher branches, or they'll find places where trees have fallen or bent under the weight of snow, making upper branches accessible. Hares also have an adaptation that seems rather unpleasant, but is actually quite practical. They practice something called coprophagy, which means eating feces. Specifically, hares produce two different types of fecal pellets. One type is the hard, dry pellets you might find scattered on the snow. These are waste products that the hare doesn't re-ingestion. But hares also produce softer, partially digested pellets directly from their cecum, a specialized part of their digestive system. These cecal pellets are rich in nutrients, particularly B vitamins produced by bacteria in the cecum. The hare eats these pellets directly as they're produced, giving the food a second pass through the digestive system and extracting more nutrients from the difficult-to-digest plant material. This might seem strange, but it's an efficient solution to the challenge of extracting maximum nutrition from low-quality food. Many animals that eat plant material, including rabbits, hares, and even chinchillas, practice coprophagy. Winter is a dangerous time for snowshoe hares. With less food available, they must spend more time exposed while feeding, increasing their vulnerability to predators. And despite their excellent camouflage, predators are adept at finding them. Lynx, in particular, are specialized snowshoe hare hunters. The population cycles of lynx and hares are famously linked. When hare populations are high, lynx populations increase because food is plentiful. But as lynx numbers grow, they hunt more hares, causing hare populations to crash. When hares become scarce, lynx numbers decline due to starvation and reduced reproduction. Then, with fewer predators, hare populations recover, and the cycle begins again. These population cycles repeat with remarkable regularity, approximately every 10 years. Scientists have documented this cycle using over a century of fur trapping records from Canada, creating one of the most extensive long-term data sets in ecology. The hares near you are moving slowly among the bushes, nibbling at twigs, occasionally pausing to look around with their large, dark eyes. Their noses twitch constantly, testing the air for scents of danger. Their ears, long and mobile, swivel independently, listening for any sound that might indicate a predator approaching. One of the hares makes a sudden hop, landing in a spray of powder snow. The movement catches your attention, and you realize just how quickly and powerfully these small animals can move when they need to. A snowshoe hare can bound away at speeds up to 27 miles per hour, leaping as far as 10 feet in a single jump. Those huge hind feet that help them walk on snow also provide powerful propulsion when they need to escape. You watch the hares for another minute, appreciating their beauty and their adaptations, and then you turn away. You've lingered long enough. The cabin is right there, warm and welcoming. It's time to go inside. A night in the boreal forest, the cabin. You walk the last few steps to the cabin door. Your hand reaches for the latch, simple and cold to the touch. You press down, and the door swings inward on well-oiled hinges. Warm air rushes out to greet you, carrying with it the sense of wood smoke and something else, perhaps tea or hot chocolate. You step inside and close the door behind you, shutting out the cold and the falling snow. The interior of the cabin is exactly what you hoped it would be. It's a single room, not large, perhaps 20 feet by 20 feet, but it's wonderfully cozy and perfectly appointed for a winter night. The dominant feature of the room is the wood stove positioned against the far wall. It's an old-style stove, cast iron and black, with a flat top and a small window in the front door through which you can see the flames dancing. The stove radiates heat, and you can feel it from where you stand by the door. It's the deep, encompassing warmth of a wood fire, so different from electric heat or forced air. This is warmth that seems to penetrate to your bones. The rest of the cabin is simply furnished but comfortable. There's a bed along one wall, covered with several quilts in traditional patterns, reds and blues and greens. Near the stove is a rocking chair with a thick cushion. A small table and two simple wooden chairs occupy one corner. Shelves along one wall hold books, a kerosene lantern, and various small items. The walls are made of logs, just as you saw from the outside. The logs are beautiful in the lamplight, their wood grain visible, their color a warm honey brown. The chinking between the logs is white and smooth, sealing out drafts. And you can now understand why this cabin stays so warm. Log cabins, when built well, have remarkable heat retention properties. It has to do with something called thermal mass. Thermal mass is the ability of a material to absorb, store, and release heat. Wood, particularly in thick logs, has excellent thermal mass. During the day, if the sun shines on the cabin, the logs absorb heat from the sunlight. They warm slowly, storing that thermal energy. Then, as night falls and the air temperature drops, the logs slowly release that stored heat back into the cabin, helping to keep the interior temperature stable. The same thing happens with the heat from the stove. As the stove burns and radiates heat, the logs absorb some of that heat. Even after the fire dies down, the logs continue to release warmth for hours, moderating the temperature inside the cabin and preventing rapid cooling. This is one of the reasons log cabins feel so comfortable. There are no rapid temperature swings. The thick logs act as a buffer, absorbing excess heat and releasing it when needed. In summer, the same principle works in reverse. The logs absorb heat during the hot part of the day, keeping the interior cooler, and then release that heat at night when the outdoor temperature drops. But thermal mass alone isn't enough to keep a cabin warm in harsh winter conditions. The cabin must also be well sealed to prevent air leakage. This is where the chinking comes in. Chinking is the flexible sealant applied between the logs. It fills the gaps that naturally exist due to the irregular shapes of logs and prevents cold air from infiltrating and warm air from escaping. Historically, chinking was made from various materials. Some cabins used a mixture of clay, lime, sand, and water. Others used oakum, a fibrous material made from old rope combined with tar. Modern chinking is usually an acrylic or latex-based compound that's flexible, allowing it to expand and contract as the logs settle and shift with temperature and humidity changes. Proper chinking and sealing are crucial because logs, being natural wood, do shift over time. They expand when they absorb moisture and contract when they dry out. They can twist slightly as they age. A poorly sealed cabin will develop gaps between logs, and through those gaps, warm air will escape and cold air will enter. The result is a drafty, uncomfortable, inefficient cabin that's expensive to heat. But this cabin is well maintained. You can feel that there are no drafts, no cold spots. The warmth from the stove fills the entire space evenly. The ceiling is made of wood planks, tongue and groove construction that fits tightly together. Above the ceiling, you know there must be insulation. While the log walls have some natural insulating property, due to their thickness, most heat loss in any building happens through the roof. Hot air rises, and if the roof isn't well insulated, the heat will simply escape into the atmosphere. Modern log cabins often have significant insulation installed in the roof above the visible ceiling. This might be spray foam insulation, fiberglass batting, rigid foam panels, or other materials. The insulation works by trapping air in small pockets. And since air is a poor conductor of heat, this slows the transfer of heat from the warm interior to the cold exterior. The same principle applies to the floor. In a well-built cabin, there's insulation between the floor joists, the structural beams that support the floor. This insulation prevents heat from escaping downward into the ground, or, if the cabin is built on piers, into the airspace beneath the floor. The windows in this cabin are double-paned, you notice, and this detail is more important than it might seem at first. Understanding how windows work and how heat escapes through them helps explain why double-pane windows make such a difference in cabin comfort and heating efficiency. Glass is a poor insulator. It conducts heat readily, which means that heat passes through it easily. A single pane of glass provides very little barrier to heat loss. In winter, warm air inside the cabin comes into contact with the cold glass, transferring heat to it. The glass, in turn, transfers the heat to the cold outside air. The result is that a lot of heat escapes through windows, and the glass itself feels cold to the touch. But double-pane windows, also called insulated glass units, are much better. They consist of 2 panes of glass with a sealed gap between them. That gap might be 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch wide, and it's filled with air or sometimes with a special gas like argon. The key is that still air is an excellent insulator. It doesn't conduct heat well at all. So that trapped air layer between the 2 panes of glass acts as an insulating barrier. Heat from the warm interior air has to cross the inner pane of glass, then move through the air gap, then cross the outer pane of glass before it reaches the outside. Each of these transitions slows the heat transfer significantly. The gap between the panes is carefully sized. If the gap is too narrow, the 2 panes are close enough that heat can bridge between them relatively easily. If the gap is too wide, convection currents can form in the airspace, with warm air rising on one side and cool air falling on the other, creating a circulation that transfers heat across the gap. The optimal gap size, about 1/2 inch, is narrow enough to prevent convection while wide enough to provide good insulation. Some high-performance windows use triple pane construction with 3 layers of glass and 2 air gaps. These provide even better insulation, though they're more expensive and heavier. They're most common in very cold climates where heating costs are high and maximum insulation is worth the investment. The windows also have another important feature: good seals and weather stripping. Even the best insulated window does no good if air can leak around the edges. Modern windows are designed with multiple seals to prevent air infiltration, and the frames are often made of materials that don't conduct heat well, like vinyl or wood, rather than metal, which would act as a thermal bridge, carrying heat from inside to outside. The door, too, is solid and well fitted, with weather stripping around its edges to seal the gaps. You can feel, standing here inside the cabin, that there are no drafts, no cold air sneaking in around windows or doors. Every detail of this cabin has been thought through to maximize heat retention and minimize heat loss. The cabin's construction represents a thoughtful application of building science, the understanding of how buildings interact with their environment. A well-built cabin in a cold climate needs to accomplish several things simultaneously. It must keep the interior warm while the outside is cold, which requires good insulation and airtight construction. It must control moisture, preventing condensation that could lead to mold or rot. It must be durable, standing up to snow loads, freeze-thaw cycles, and other environmental stresses. And ideally, it should do all of this in a way that's energy efficient and sustainable. The logs themselves contribute to all of these goals. What is a moderately good insulator, though not as good as modern insulation materials like foam or fiberglass? The thick logs of this cabin probably provide an R value, the measure of insulation effectiveness, of about 8 to 10. That's not spectacular by modern standards. A conventionally built wall with fiberglass insulation might have an R value of 19 or more. But the logs have an advantage that R value doesn't fully capture: thermal mass. Thermal mass is the ability of a material to absorb and store heat energy. Materials with high thermal mass, like concrete, brick, stone, or thick wood, heat up slowly and cool down slowly. Materials with low thermal mass, like thin metal or foam, change temperature quickly in response to changing conditions. In a log cabin, the thermal mass of the logs helps stabilize interior temperatures. On a sunny winter day, if sunshine streams through the south-facing windows and warms the interior, the logs absorb some of that heat energy. They warm up slowly over the course of several hours. Then, as evening comes and the sun sets and the outside temperature drops, those warm logs slowly release their stored heat back into the cabin, helping to keep it warm even as the outside temperature plummets. This thermal flywheel effect means that temperatures inside the cabin change much more slowly than temperatures outside. There are no rapid swings, no moments when the cabin suddenly feels cold. Instead, there's a gentle, stable warmth that persists hour after hour. The same principle works in summer. If the outside temperature soars during the day, the thick log walls absorb heat slowly, keeping the interior cooler. Then at night, when the outside temperature drops, The logs release the heat to the cooler night air, helping to cool the cabin. Of course, thermal mass only works well if the building is also well insulated and airtight. Without good insulation, the thermal mass just means you're storing heat that will quickly escape. But in a well-built log cabin like this one, thermal mass and insulation work together synergistically. You walk over to the stove and hold your hands out toward it, feeling the radiant heat on your palms and the front of your wrists. The heat is gentle but penetrating, reaching deep into your cold fingers. You can see the fire through the little window in the stove door. The flames are yellow and orange at their tips, with blue at their bases where the burning is hottest. They flicker and dance as they consume the wood, their movements hypnotic, constantly changing, yet somehow always the same. You can hear the quiet crackling and popping of burning wood, a sound that's deeply comforting and primal, connecting you to countless generations of humans who have gathered around fires for warmth and light and safety. The sound of a wood fire is actually quite complex when you listen carefully. There's the steady, low crackling, which is the sound of wood fibers breaking down as they're consumed by the heat. Occasionally, there's a louder pop or snap, which happens when pockets of moisture or resin in the wood suddenly vaporize and the pressure causes the wood to fracture. Sometimes you can hear a soft hissing or whisper, which is gases escaping from the burning wood and igniting as they reach the flames. Each type of wood burns with its own characteristics. Birch, which you can see stacked beside the stove, burns hot and clean with a pleasant aroma. The bark of birch contains oils that make it easy to ignite, and birch logs will even burn when slightly damp, though dry wood always burns better. Pine burns quickly and produces more smoke and creosote, the tarry residue that can build up in chimneys, but it's useful for getting a fire started or boosting a fire that's burning low. Hardwoods like oak or maple burn more slowly and produce longer-lasting coals, providing steady heat for hours. There's firewood stacked neatly beside the stove, split logs of birch and pine arranged in a crisscross pattern that allows air to circulate. The wood has been split to roughly the same size, maybe 4 to 6 inches in diameter and about 16 inches long. This uniformity helps the wood burn efficiently, each piece contributing roughly the same amount of heat as the others. Someone has thoughtfully left everything ready for a winter evening. There's kindling in a box, small sticks, and wood shavings that would be used to start the fire. There's newspaper rolled and twisted into tight spirals that burn slowly and help get the kindling going. There are long matches in a tin container. Everything speaks of care and preparation, of someone who knows how to make a cabin comfortable and who has taken the time to do it right. You notice that someone has thoughtfully prepared hot water as well. There's a kettle sitting on the flat top of the stove, and when you touch it carefully, it's quite warm. The cast iron stovetop is an excellent place to keep water hot or to simmer soup or stew. The heat distributes evenly across the surface, and nothing ever gets too hot because the stove is designed to burn steadily rather than creating hot spots. On the table, you find a mug, simple and heavy, made of thick ceramic. There's a tin of tea with handwritten labels indicating different varieties: chamomile for relaxation, peppermint for digestion, black tea for energy, though you certainly don't need energy at this hour. And there's a jar of honey, local honey judging by the label, golden and thick. You choose the chamomile and prepare yourself a cup of tea. The simple act of making tea is meditative in itself. You open the tin and smell the dried chamomile flowers. Their scent gentle and slightly sweet with undertones of apple. You place a generous pinch in the mug. You use a folded cloth to protect your hand as you lift the kettle from the stove top and pour the hot water over the chamomile. The flowers immediately begin to steep, releasing their essences into the water. The liquid takes on a pale golden color. While the tea steeps, you add a spoonful of honey, watching as it slowly dissolves, swirling in golden ribbons through the tea. You stir gently with a wooden spoon that rests on the table, and the honey integrates fully, sweetening the chamomile and adding its own subtle floral notes. The aroma rising from the mug is soothing, inviting, promising comfort and rest. With the mug of tea cupped in both hands, you walk over to the rocking chair near the stove. The chair is made of solid wood, probably pine or maybe birch, with simple, clean lines. The cushion is thick and covered in fabric with a pattern of evergreen trees, appropriate for this forest setting. You settle into the chair, and it receives your weight with a gentle creak. The cushion is soft and comfortable, conforming to your body. You lean back, and the chair rocks gently, the runners smooth and well-made, the motion perfectly balanced. You take your first sip of tea. It's hot, but not burning, the temperature perfect for drinking. The chamomile is delicate and soothing on your tongue, and the honey adds a comforting sweetness. You can feel the warmth of the liquid as you swallow, spreading through your chest and into your stomach. It's deeply satisfying, this simple cup of tea warming you from within just as the stove warms you from without. You begin to rock gently in the chair, and the motion is incredibly soothing. There's something about rocking that speaks to a deep, primal part of the human brain. Perhaps it reminds us of being rocked as infants, that feeling of safety and comfort. Perhaps it's related to the gentle swaying we experience while walking or being carried. Whatever the reason, the steady, rhythmic motion of the rocking chair is profoundly relaxing. Rock forward, rock back. Rock forward, rock back. Each movement is smooth and controlled. The chair knows exactly how far to rock, never going so far that you feel unstable, always maintaining that perfect, gentle arc. Your body begins to sync with the rhythm, your breathing falling into pace with the rocking. Breathe in as the chair rocks forward, breathe out as it rocks back. Or is it the other way around? It doesn't matter. The breathing and the rocking find their own relationship, their own harmony. You take another sip of tea and another. The mug gradually empties, the chamomile having given up all its flavor and soothing compounds to the water. You set the empty mug on the small table next to the chair, and the act of letting go of it, of releasing that small object from your hands, feels symbolic somehow, like you're letting go of more than just the mug. You're letting go of the day, of any concerns or worries, of any tension or stress. You're releasing all of it, allowing it to drift away like smoke up a chimney, dissipating into nothing. Your body feels wonderfully heavy now in the best possible way. It's not the heaviness of fatigue or burden. It's the heaviness of complete relaxation, when every muscle has let go of its tension and released its grip. Your shoulders have dropped down from where you didn't even realize you'd been holding them tensed. Your jaw has unclenched. Your hands rest loosely in your lap, fingers soft and curved naturally. Your feet are flat on the floor, and even your toes have relaxed inside your warm socks or slippers. The stove continues its gentle work, radiating steady waves of heat. The fire has burned down a bit since you've been sitting here, the flames smaller now, but the bed of coals glowing bright orange and red. These coals are where most of the heat comes from. They're wood that has burned past the flaming stage into pure carbon, burning at very high temperatures without visible flame. A good bed of coals can keep a cabin warm for hours, and in the morning, if some coals are still alive, they can be used to restart the fire easily. You could add another log to the fire if you wanted. The fire would build up again, flames dancing higher, adding even more warmth to the already comfortable cabin. But you don't feel moved to get up. The cabin is warm enough. You're comfortable enough. Everything is exactly as it should be, and there's no need to change anything. Your eyelids are growing heavy. Not heavy in a way that you're fighting, trying to keep them open. They're heavy in a way that you're fighting, trying to keep them open. They're heavy in a way that feels natural, inevitable, like the falling of snow or the setting of the sun. They want to close, and there's no reason not to let them. So you do. You close your eyes, and the darkness behind your eyelids is soft and welcoming. The rocking has slowed, almost to a stop. Just the tiniest motion now, barely perceptible. Your breathing has become slow and deep as well. Each breath in, each breath out, peaceful and easy. The air you breathe in is warm from the cabin, carrying the faint sense of wood smoke and chamomile. The air you breathe out releases into the cabin, joining with the warm air already there, becoming part of the cabin's atmosphere. You can still hear the fire, its soft crackling and settling. You can hear, very faintly, the whisper of snow hitting the roof above you, a sound so soft it's almost imagined, almost like silence itself. And beneath everything, underneath all these gentle sounds, there's the profound quiet of the winter forest, that special silence created by the sound-absorbing snow and the sleeping land. Outside, beyond the walls of this warm cabin, the winter night has fully arrived. Through the windows, you can see nothing but darkness and the endless soft fall of snow. The snow falls and falls, accumulating on the ground, on the trees, on the roof of the cabin. It muffles every sound, wraps the world in silence. But inside, you're completely comfortable. The stove radiates steady heat. The tea warms you from within. The rocking chair cradles you gently. And gradually, you begin to feel deeply, profoundly relaxed. You think about the journey you took to get here. The bear preparing for its long winter's rest. Its body a marvel of metabolic adaptation. The wolves howling together in their family group, their bonds of cooperation and affection keeping them strong. The moose walking deliberately through the snow on its snowshoe hooves, its hollow-haired coat keeping warm. The snowshoe hares, white against white, surviving another day in the dangerous beauty of winter. All of these creatures are out there now, in the dark, in the cold, in the falling snow. They're adapted, equipped, capable. They'll make it through this night and many more nights. They're part of this landscape, woven into it, as much a part of the boreal forest as the trees and the snow and the frozen lakes. And you, here in this cabin, are also part of this landscape tonight. You're sheltered and warm, yes, but you're also connected to what's outside. You're experiencing winter, understanding it, appreciating it. The cabin isn't separate from nature. It's a human adaptation to the environment, much like the bear's den or the moose's coat or the hare's snowshoe feet. We're all finding our ways to survive, to be comfortable, to thrive. You take another sip of tea. The rocking chair continues its gentle motion. The fire in the stove burns steadily, the wood slowly turning.
Sketches and photographs, but the true legacy would be geological and ecological. Fossils, sediment layers, and cave art all would testify to existence without requiring exposure. Science, at its best, works with what endures. The valley, silent and pristine, carried the echoes of her life. Thermal vents still hissed, clouds still twisted over the peaks, and snow blanketed the collapsed lair. Bones, now fossilized, waited patiently to be discovered by distant future scientists. Every fossil, every impression, told a story of survival, adaptation, flight, and solitude. The last dragon's life had ended, but her presence was immortalized in stone. Fossilization preserved not just anatomy, but behavior. Wing bones revealed aerodynamics. Claw marks indicated hunting strategies. Sediment layers captured the environment she had thrived in. Even after centuries, she would teach those who came later about apex predators, evolution, and survival against impossible odds. The cave art, faded but unbroken, reminded humans that legends often have roots in reality. Every line, every curve of claw and flame was a historical footprint, bridging myth and science. The northern mountains had witnessed her existence, and the rocks themselves became the storytellers. Alira wrote her final journal entry. Life is fleeting, memory is fragile, yet stone remembers, fossils endure, cave art persists, the last dragon lives on. Not in our hands, not in the world's eyes, but in layers of rock, sediment, and imagination. Nature writes history. We are only the witnesses. The expedition team left the valley quietly, carrying their notebooks and sketches, but leaving the mountains untouched. Snow fell thickly, covering tracks, softening rocks, and erasing the presence of humans. In the distance, clouds twisted across peaks, and thermals swirled over the hidden lair. Somewhere beneath that snow, bones waited, stone waited, legends waited. The last dragon had vanished from the living world, but she remained eternal in echoes of stone. And in that quiet, the northern mountains whispered a lesson. Life is powerful, life is fragile, and some secrets are best preserved in silence. Myths become science. The mountains had grown silent again. Snow drifted across ridges, and steam rose gently from hidden vents. The last dragon had vanished, leaving only fossils, cave art, and whispers of her presence. But while she no longer soared above peaks, her story lived on, not just in memory, but in the way humans tried to understand the impossible. Legends, after all, are rarely born from nothing. Ancient people saw shadows in the clouds, claw marks in caves, or enormous bones unearthed from ice and rock. They told stories, exaggerating shapes and feats to warn, inspire, or entertain. The dragon in myth was always bigger, fiercer, more magnificent than the living reality. Illyria reflected on the history of paleontology. Fossils of massive creatures had long confused humans. Tyrannosaurus.
Your body feels heavy, sinking deeper into the comfortable chair. Thoughts begin to dissolve, losing their edges, becoming soft and dreamlike. The bear in its den, sleeping through the winter, its heartbeat slow and its body living off stored fat. The wolves curled together in their den beneath a fallen tree, keeping each other warm. The moose standing beneath a thick spruce tree, its long legs supporting its weight, its hollow-haired coat shedding the falling snow. The hares in their shallow forms, hidden beneath low branches, their white fur invisible against the white world. And you, here in the cabin, drifting now at the edge of sleep. So warm, so comfortable, so peaceful. The fire continues its quiet crackling. The snow continues its soft falling. The night wraps around the cabin like a blanket. Everything is exactly as it should be. Sleep comes gently, naturally, like snow settling on the forest floor. Your breathing becomes even deeper, slower. Your mind lets go of thoughts, of images, of everything. There's only warmth and comfort and the deep, restful darkness of sleep. The cabin holds you safe. The forest surrounds you. The snow falls softly outside, and you sleep deeply and peacefully through the long winter night. If you enjoyed this journey through the quiet snow and the Canadian wilderness, I would be so grateful if you would take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me create more peaceful bedtime stories like this one. Stories that blend education with relaxation, helping you learn while you drift off to sleep. There are many more sleep stories waiting for you here, each one taking you to a different place, introducing you to different aspects of the natural world. Whether it's the ocean, the desert, the rainforest, or the mountains, there's always something new to discover. Sleep well, rest deeply, and I'll see you in the next story. Good night.